I'm so excited for today's show. I hope you can share some of my enthusiasm. My plans are starting to be fulfilled as I convert from 35 mil to 120 film. Now, I have shot 35 mil for decades, and I still have a couple of Leicas, and I still have some Nikons, and I still shoot a lot of 35 mil. And I have shot 35 mil for decades. But I'm slowly selling off some of that 35 mil as I convert to 120 film. When you're in the darkroom, you always want a bigger negative. 35 mil is great, 120 is greater. So in the darkroom, you never have a big enough negative. You always want the biggest neg possible. So I'm slowly converting from 35 mil to 120. Now, I've already ordered some film. I've got 2 packs of film have already arrived. I've got some of the Rolly infrared in 120. It's on order. It should be here soon. And the camera gear is starting to arrive. I've sold a few things off, and I've bought a few new things. The first thing I bought was the Hasselblad 120 macro lens. So this is a great all-purpose lens. This is the first lens I think you want to start off with. So I've got the Hasselblad 120, and it's a macro. It doesn't focus as close as a 35 mil macro does. So I've also got a couple of extension tubes. I'll be using these down the road to just get a little bit closer. The 120 macro will be great, but with a couple of extension tubes, I'll be able to focus even closer so I can get great shots of peppers and garlic and things like that. I'll be doing some videos with the macro with those extension tubes for sure. Now, the other thing that's finally arrived, and it took a while, is the camera. So this is the Hasselblad 555, and I've got another lens for it. This is my second lens. This is the Hasselblad 180. So in the Hasselblad system, probably the 120 macro, as I've mentioned, is the most useful, but the most joyful is the 180. Great for portraits. I do a lot of portraits. It's going to be great for landscape. I'm so excited to use this combination. This is probably the nicest lens in the Hasselblad system, is this 180. Now, this is the 555 camera, so built-in motor drive. It's a joy to use. It has all of the features, the latest features that Hasselblad came out with. Now, in the past, I shot with a lot of Hasselblad. So when I shot NBA, as I mentioned a lot of times, I was a pro sports photographer. And when we did indoor games, NHL and NBA, you were using strobes that were mounted in the ceiling, so you had lots of light. And for your remote cameras, you would probably shoot with a Hasselblad. So I've had the 553, the predecessor for this. I had 3 of those, and I would put them around the arena to shoot the NBA. Now, those cameras are older, and I've got rid of all of my Hasselblad stuff years ago when I started working for Sony. I just didn't see a need for it. I had purchased a bit of Pentax 645 gear. I still had the Rolly, still have the Rolly. But when I retired, I kind of got rid of all of my medium format stuff, and I thought it was retired. Now I'm just doing photography for the joy of it, and I'm going back to the Blad. So this is the Hasselblad 555. It's the nicest of the motorized ones. I've used the 553 and owned that in the past, so I'm excited to use this camera. Now, when I buy a backup camera, it won't be the motorized one. The backup will be just like a 503 or something like that. This is a little bit heavier, takes up a bit more space, but it's a joy to use. And if you're going to do the joy of photography, why not use a camera lens? That's a joy to use. So this has arrived. I'm excited to get working with this. A camera back has arrived. I've got another one on order, so you need a couple of backs. This is a A12 back, so it holds a roll of 120 film and allows you to get 12 frames off in the 6x6 format. So 6x6 is the new future, and I'm a little bit less with 35 mil, more with the 120. Other things that have started to arrive, of course, I shoot black and white film, and I like to use filters to darken the sky and kind of control the contrast. So a bunch of filters I've ordered. I've got the red that I use a little bit. I've got an orange. I've got a yellow. These are the very same filters that I've been using for years on 8x10 or 4x5 or 35 mil or 120 in the past. But now I've got them for this filter size, and I've even got the infrared filter, so when this Rolly infrared 400 shows up, I'll have the right filter to get started with that. So I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to put a couple of rolls through. I want to run a couple of tests, make sure the film is working as I want. Again, I haven't used the Delta 100 for years in 120, and I haven't used Pan F for years, really a lot in 120. So a couple of new films. We're switching a lot of things. I've switched developers. The other day I mixed up Ilford ID11. I haven't used that developer for years because I was using codec Xtol. So new films, new camera system, new developers. It's an exciting time. I'm gonna have to run a couple of tests, but I can't wait to get started converting to 120, the larger negative in the darkroom. I think it's gonna be fantastic. It's just the love of photography, trying to get a little bit better quality. I'm excited about it. I hope you can share some of that enthusiasm.